Welcome back on Darkenss. Today I want to propose you a video about the unboxing review about the White Dwarf issue 477 of June 2022, released by the Games Workshop. This is a really quite interesting White Dwarf because there are a lot of additional things inside, because we had the White Dwarf that has the Wolrd Eater that we'll see soon about the Adeptus Astartes, Chaotic in this case. We have about the upgrade of the FleshEater Courts to the Dominion new edition of Age of Sigmar, and we have a lot of new cards. So this is a package that has quite a lot of things. I really like such images, so eventually if you are interested you can cut this from here and use for other things, because it can be interesting. And so now we put this aside and see the contents. Here we can see the first of the inserts that are these, where are the stickers that are quite nice, and this code that it's univoc, so I covered so that I can use, because it's related about the game Chaos Gate Demonhunters that you can have on your PC, and this is a way to have the skins for the weapons and so on. Eventually, if you're interested, in the description I leave the series that it's about Chaos Gate that has been realized in Italian by one of the YouTubers that I follow about war games and so on, so that it's about the video games. So I suggest you eventually to go to see about that, because it can be quite interesting if you want to see everything. Obviously it's in Italian, but still it can be interesting to see the complete series about the Chaos Gate Demonhunters, because it's a game that I really appreciated. And then have Warcry bands cards, and we have quite a lot of them. Moreover, you have to pay attention because they are double-sided. If you see these ones, here you have other options available, and as you can see we have a lot of things because we have quite a lot of them. These are about the necromancer part that has been brought, so you can see you have quite a lot of things that you can use for Warcry, and they can be really quite interesting. So eventually think about using them, because if you play Warcry, these could be, I say, quite useful eventually. And here we have these that are the stratagems about the Wolrd Eaters. I'm quite curious about this because in the new chapter approved that has to be released quite soon, it has been said that there will be all the stratagems available there. So I'm quite curious about this, if they are there, if they are available still or not. Still, they are quite good because anyway, even if they are there, with this you can separate from here and use without any problem. So eventually it can be quite interesting. And so they are always welcome if you play Wolrd Eaters, obviously even more. And then we have some other update. This is about Khorne, but here we have also something related about the FleshEater Courts. So as you can see, we have this, that here there is Khorne the Betrayer, and here the Khorne Berserkers. But if you see here, it's Khorne Berserker too. I think that has been made a problem with the printing of such, because if you see, Khorne Berserkers are the same that here, and here we have Khorne the Betrayer. Technically, this should have been here, so that you have a single schedule. Eventually, you can also think as this to be so that you have in a single schedule Khorne and the Berserkers, and here should be about being the Channel Thrones, that this image should be the image about Age of Sigmar, so a separate one. So I think that there has been a problem with the printing of such a stuff. Still, it's not bad, it's the Channel Throne, and as you can see, it's almost the same that the previous one, but with some little difference that we'll see a bit later. And so here the White Dwarf that I like quite a lot, sincerely. So we can flip and we can see the alternative cover that it's about the White Dwarf that I really like a lot. It's about the Stormcast Titanas against the FleshEater Courts, and the FleshEater Courts are one of the main themes about such White Dwarf. And which image do you prefer? Because this is technically the image of the Battletome, but the codex of the Wolrd Eaters. This instead, it's a nice alternative image that it's quite interesting to see. Here, as usual, the presentation about what it will be in this White Dwarf. here the contents that are really quite a lot to see, and here we can start to see about the mailing list of the readers to the White Dwarf itself. And as always, I suggest you to see about such images, because they can be really inspirational about what you can do. For example, some effect for the bases. Think about this model, it's really quite nice. But if you go to see, I have a similar model that I realized quite a lot of years ago that I really like a lot as options. So I sincerely think that this it can be really quite interesting as things, because as you can see, you can learn how to reposition everything so that you can have a difference. And really, these are little things but quite always useful, so really take note about this. And here we continue with other basics. For example, think about this, but also this is something that you realize without any problems, because I have, for example, this model that has a similar option. So it's something that you can apply in different models, in different situations with different armies and so on, without any problem. Really think about such, because it could be really quite interesting. Also here there is quite a lot of nice pieces. For example, this modifying can be really quite awesome, and you can use, for example, such idea for other miniatures so that you can have something different. I think that it's really quite interesting. Here an article by Andy Clark that talk about the campaigns, how to create them, how to make them have a theme, progressing them and so on. And I think that for the ones that are interested about making the campaigns, it can be really quite awesome. And here instead we can begin with Age of Sigmar, and in particular about the FleshEater Courts, because we see here that they are really deployed a lot of FleshEater Courts. And sincerely, I think that have almost the same amount, surely the same amount of Darkenss eventually. No, there is one more that than the ones that I have. So it can be really quite awesome. Here we had the realm files, so to know better the realms of House. And we can find a lot of background related also about the FleshEater Courts eventually, because we can develop with here the Tom Slash that it's later about the FleshEater Courts. Here the image that we've seen here, simply put a bit bigger. And I suggest you, even if you know the FleshEater Courts, to go to see and read about such, because it could be really quite awesome to have some little detail more available, or you can know, if you don't know about the FleshEater Courts quite good, a bit better about them. And here the FleshEater Courts update. I realized a specific video related about such rules, so to analyze them, because there are not too many, because we have simply a like attention here the update of the Channel Throne again, and here the match play, so it's not so big as an update. Still, I think that the FleshEater Courts will need such update, so it can be interesting. Obviously, I'm not make about the Path to Glory because I'm not interested about. Still, it's available for the ones that are interested. Here we had a campaign that it's obviously related this about the FleshEater Courts, so you can understand better. I always invite you to see about such images, because they could be interesting to create something as options or as modify and so on. So here we can develop quite a lot. And here we have about Warcry. We've seen before that there are inserts related about cards about this, and we have new rules available. So the White Dwarf confirmed to be really a must-have for the ones that play Warcry to know better, because you can see that there are a lot of things that you have to take note. These cards are the ones that are inserts. Still, you have to pay a bit of attention, because there are a lot of new things. And here about the Tale of 4 Warlords. So we can see their armies and their battle, because they are going to make a battle against each other. And for the ones that are interested, could be quite interesting about having, because here you can see the images of the complete armies that they have, and this it's anyway a battle report, so you could use such battle report or to have fun, because you want to see how it's done with 4 factions about playing Age of Sigmar. That sincerely it's really awesome to have, because you can have inspiration about to create multiplayer battles eventually, or simply you can understand how you can play with Age of Sigmar if you don't know, because you play other things, so you are just new to the hobby itself. So I think that they are quite nice, and moreover you had the option to see better details about some of the models with the photos, or maybe see some shiny parts that can be, for example, this match. There could be inspiration about realizing some photos or so on related. Anyway, there are a lot of things that could be useful about. And then we have about Warhammer 40k. Here we had the Berserker of Khorne and the Index Hereticus. So the Index starts about the Wolrd Eaters. I want to remember you that here we had the background, but also the rules related. So it's an important update for the ones that want. And I love such images. The Berserker of Khorne are always awesome. There is a lot of background also, so it's useful. And here we have a better detail about the Wolrd Eaters. So we can find that it's a must-have. For the ones that want to play the Wolrd Eaters, this is simply something that you must buy, because it's something that you have to bring on the battlefield. So here we have the schedules, the datasheets that we've seen before. And here also a fiction, and it's always welcome, because for the ones that like it, it can be really quite, I can say, inspirational about to play the Wolrd Eaters. Here we have about, for example, models, modifying and so on, so we can find conversions about, because normal the Berserker of Khorne, the normal ones, are not so good, so see some modifying, some change, some, for example, this adaptation that it's quite awesome. This we have a particular type of Juggernaut of Khorne that it's free head, so a sort of Cerberus. It can be really inspirational. So even if you don't play them and so on, go to see about this, because you could have a lot of inspirational see about such base that has with this amount of schools. So really quite a lot, and really you can have quite a lot of fun about playing with these ones. For example, about this, there is the Surgrinder. About this, I want to remind you that in the description I leave you my way to monetize such one, so that eventually we can be interested about and having your options. And here about to paint, it could be anyway quite interesting. Anyway, if you are interested, I have the video about how to paint the Red Armous that I use about the Blood Angels, but could be used also with certain modify or certain alternatives about painting also the Wolrd Eaters, if you're interested about. Here some bits that you can realize and so on. Here the awful models of the Berserker of Khorne. Sincerely, I hope that they will be remaked quite soon, because they are really bad, awful ones. And here an article by Cruders that talk about the Imperial Knight and how to modify them, how to make them personalized, the profiles and so on, how to use them. So it's quite interesting eventually. And here we have Zone Mortalis, that it's related about Warhammer 50k, so Horus Heresy. I want to remember you that there's been released a new set box about this, so Horus Heresy, and I made some videos about. So if you're interested to see the unboxing of the two before released the set box related about Horus Heresy, you have the videos in the description, as my analysis of the Dwarf of the new Age of Darkness that has been released. So eventually you can see all of them in the description. And anyway, here you have new rules that you can play with. So if you're interested about Horus Heresy, this it's really awesome about. And then we have this that it's related about Necromunda with new rules about Necromunda. It's really full of rules, this White. And so we have really a lot of things. Necromunda, as work I see in the White Dwarf, really a constant update of everything. And here we have about the Black Library. As usual, I suggest you to give a try about such, because you can learn to, I can say, love an author, so you can learn that he realized some things that you didn't know, and so read about it. You can love one of the armies that it's one or more armies that are represented here. So I think that it's really quite useful. And anyway, in the years there's been released complete books with these chapter by chapter. So it's a way, if you collect the White Dwarf as I do, to simply have the books without having to buy them. Sometimes or some particular novels that can be interesting. So anyway, I think that it's something that it's worth. Here we have about inside the studio that make an anticipation of what we'll see in the next White Dwarfs. And here we have what will be in the next issue, that it's about the team kill team zones. So we have something that I don't like too much, because kill team, it's not something that I'm quite interested about, but I think that this White Dwarf, it's really quite amazing. There are a lot of ideas about painting, modifying and so on, that it's always welcome. And if you're going to play with either the Age of Sigmar or the Warhammer 40k, you have a lot of options available, because you have new rules for Necromunda, for Horus Heresy, you have new rules for the Wolrd Eaters. About Age of Sigmar, you have the new way to play the new update about the FleshEater Courts. So there are quite also Warcry. So there are a lot of things inside. Obviously, it's up to you to decide if it's worth or not. But I think that this is really quite rich. Moreover, remember that you have the code about the free, I can say, skin for weapons about Chaos Gate. So it can be really quite Demonhunters, so it can be really quite intriguing, at least. So from Dino Mode, it's everything. I invite you to put a like on this video, to subscribe to the channel, to ring the bell, and to comment this video if you are interested in something about this video, or you want to suggest me some arguments for other videos. I hope to see you again to the next time.